Welcome to Retiring Right. Mike has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Mike Reese of Centennial Advisors will help you learn about strategies for creating income in retirement, managing your wealth, and minimizing taxes. You're watching Retiring Right.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Here today, once again, with Mike Reese. Good to be with you as always. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Always great to see you again, and I'm looking forward to another great show.
Fantastic. We're talking about finding the right balance in retirement. Let's set the scene for just a moment. What if you could grow your money without constantly worrying about losing it? What a great concept. That is the big question many people face when planning for retirement. Today, Mike is here to help us learn about growing wealth, preserving what we have, and ways to help find the balance we're looking for. And let's get right into this, Mike. I think this is a big question that a lot of people have. Why is balancing growth and preservation so important for retirement?
You know, when you ask me that question, my mind flashes back to a conversation I had with my dad. And we have to go all the way back to 1998. So gosh, a ways back, which is a nice way of saying I'm getting older. But I've been in the industry for 30 years. And back in October of 1998, my dad came to me and he said, Mike, your mom and I, that's how my parents talk, your mom and I are thinking of retiring. And you're in the business. We're wondering if you could maybe help us out. I'm like, sure, Dad, what are you thinking? And he says, well, I'm hoping that, I've got this money saved in my 401k, and, your mom and I, we've got pension and Social Security, and we figure maybe you could manage the 401k for us and maybe give us a little income, what have you, and that's kind of what we're thinking. I said, all right, so tell me more. He says, all right, so here's the thing. This is what I want. I'm like, what do you want with your money? If I'm managing your money, what do you want? And he says, well, first, I want you to protect my principal, right? I don't have, this is all the money your mom and I are ever going to have, so it has to last, right? And he says, okay, Dad, got it. What else? Well, like I said, I want income. Well, how much income do you want, Dad? And he says, well, I've been reading, because it's back in 98 before Google, right? I've been reading, Kiplinger and Money Magazine, and they say there's this thing called a 4% rule. Like, if I should be able to take 4% for income, and I've got about $300,000 saved in my 401k, and 4% would be $12,000 or about $1,000 a month, supplemental income. So if you could give me $1,000 a month, that'd be great. All right, Dad, protect your principal, give you a little income. Anything else? Oh, yeah. He goes, while you're doing that, I want you to grow it. Like, grow it.
So you're taking notes the whole time,
yeah,
right?
it's like, okay, protect your principal. And by the way, why does he want me to grow the money? Amy, why do you think he wants me to grow the money?
Well, he must be thinking he's going to live.
Yeah, he's going to live a long time. He's worried about mom living a long time mostly,
yeah.
But also inflation. So so I'm like, okay, Dad, gosh, protect your principal, take some income, grow it a little bit. And then I ask, of course, the question that I'm just so stupid for asking, because I just keep asking, is there anything else? And he's like, yeah, there is. I'm like, oh no, what is it this time?
Why did I ask?
Yeah, and it's, well, all this money in my 401k goes, I don't think I've ever paid tax on that money. So if you could maybe help me pay less tax as I pull the money out, that'd be fantastic.
How'd you do, Mike? How'd you do on this project?
Well, what I did is I apparently put a big S on my chest and did the Superman thing. But it's so funny though. You're talking about this balancing act, right? This is a conversation I had with my parents, almost 30 years ago now. And back then, what were we talking about? Protect your principal, take some income, grow it, and save on tax. Isn't it amazing how that's the exact same conversation we're having today? And when it comes to your retirement, the balancing act is simply this. Those are not the goals you have when you're working. When you're working, your goal is grow, right? That's all we care about. But now that we're into retirement, now we have to think, wait a minute, we have other competing priorities. And so we've got to think, how are we going to change our portfolio? How are we going to change our investing so we can satisfy everything that we're trying to do?
I love that story. I love all stories as it relates to retirement. You've done this for so many years. You certainly know. Kind of along the same lines of this generation idea of thinking. What do you say to someone who thinks safe money is stuffing it in the couch cushions or under the mattress?
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because you have to have a balancing act, that means what? Some money in growth accounts, but you need some money in safer accounts. And the challenge everybody thinks about is, gosh, I don't like safe money because it doesn't pay me anything. And guess what? There's a lot of safe accounts that don't pay you anything. But there are a number of safe options in today's world where you can get decent returns. I mean, imagine accounts where your principal is protected, but you still get maybe 5-6% a year, right? If I can get 5 to 6% with no risk, I can live with that for part of my money, right? And you gotta have that balancing act. Otherwise, you get yourself into trouble when the markets don't cooperate.
Okay, we're off to a great start. Thank you so much, Mike. Stay tuned because coming up, Mike will share 3 strategies to help you grow your savings while keeping them preserved. And later, we'll talk strategies to help keep your portfolio pyramid from tipping over. Don't miss it.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
Welcome back to Retiring Right. Earlier, we talked about the importance of balancing growth and preservation, but what are some ways to do it? That's what Mike Reese is back to join us and discuss and talk all about. We are trying to find this balancing act between growth and preservation. How do we go about it? What are some strategies? People always want some actionable items.
Sure. And Amy, of course, I'm going to use the word diversification, right?
It's a
Of
big
course
word.
I'm going to use that word.
Yes.
And because it's the one word with the most syllables that I can pronounce, right? Look, you've got to diversify your portfolio. And diversification, a lot of times people think of diversification as, oh, gee, it's different, what do they say, different baskets, right? For your accounts. But they think diversification is, stocks, bonds. I've got these funds, these stock funds, and I'm going to diversify by having 4 different funds that invest in stocks, and I'll have 3 different funds that invest in bonds, and now, look at that, I'm diversified, right? But that's not really what I'm talking about. That's one level of diversification, but you need to be doing a much better job than that. When you think about your diversification, you need to be thinking about truly different asset classes. So stocks as a group is an asset class. Bonds, which are interest-paying types of things, are an asset class. But then you have to look outside of that and say, well, what other asset classes might be available, right? For example, the insurance industry has a number of tools that make a lot of sense for people who are in retirement, nearing retirement. In the annuity space. Are you looking at that for part of your money? What about real estate? What about private lending? there's such a large number of asset classes that people aren't using. So step one, make sure you're looking at everything that's out there, right? And then step two, you do have to rebalance periodically, because if you don't, things get out of whack, right? And you can't have that. You've got to make sure you stay balanced. And then, always consider, especially on the income side, you've got to pay attention. Look at the options for income. And that means things like government bonds or fixed income, but also look at annuities. You've got to look at them all. Make sure that when you look at everything, you can put together a mix that really fits you.
Okay, you alluded to this a little bit. Should we be making changes to our investments all of the time? How do we know what the timing is on that?
Yeah, you don't have to go crazy, right? Now, in our portfolios, I will tell you, for our clients, we do help them look at their structure, on a regular basis throughout the year, but we typically don't make many changes other than, maybe 2-3, you get out there 2-3 years out and things start getting a little out of whack. That's normally a pretty good time to start bringing things back into balance normally. Now, certainly if craziness happens out there, you might do it more frequently, but that's kind of typical. Every 2-3 years is good.
Okay, some people I think maybe have this idea, maybe a worry, if you will, that a balanced plan leads to less growth. How do you address that, you and your team? Because I think it's different with each person's idea of what something is for any concept in retirement planning, but this balancing act may be kind of a challenging one.
Yeah, so here you go. I want you to think about it this way. In your working years, my kids, they're in their 20s and early 30s. They have a long time horizon in front of them. So for them, it's all about, using baseball terms, they're trying to hit home runs with their portfolios. If the markets are going to be up 30%, they want 30%, right? They want to hit those home runs. But what's the problem when you're hitting a lot of home runs? What else comes along for the ride? Well, you strike out a lot, right? By the time you get to retirement, it's not about hitting the home runs anymore. Retirement is a game of singles and doubles, right? It's about consistency.
Get a base hit. Just get to the next base.
Be consistent. You don't have time to make up for losing a bunch of money, but you still want to get decent returns. And you can win a lot of games hitting a lot of singles and doubles. Now, you've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. A boring portfolio supports an exciting retirement. This is the thing that people miss out on all the time. I'm going to give you a quick story about how this all goes wrong when we're chasing returns.
Okay.
I'll never forget a guy named Richard. He worked for Ford at the time. He was one of the managers at Ford. And it was October of 2007, right before the 2008 crash. He came to us and he had $983,000 in his account. And he's like, I want to retire at the end of the year. And we're like, awesome, you're in great shape, you got plenty of money. All you got to do is, he was all in the markets, you guys switch to hitting singles and doubles. We just got to reduce your risk here. Let's get you set up in a lower risk environment. And his comment was, I'm just going to stay where I am, as I am, till the end of the year when I retire. I want to get over that $1 million mark and then I'll retire. Why do you want to get over $1 million? It's a round number. It would feel good. He didn't need to. He had enough money already. Well, we all know the story, right? Starting in the fall of 2007, markets started dropping. Call him up. Nope, couldn't retire in January because he didn't have his money. And he just kept going. By the end of the year, his million was down to, not quite $1 million, down to less than 600,000, right? And he's like, oh no, I can't retire now. No, he couldn't. He didn't have the money. He had to work another 5 years before he could retire. Okay, that's why you got to be more balanced. Stop focusing on hitting home runs. Focus on singles and doubles. Had he focused on making that shift, he would have retired on time and all would have been well.
All right, thank you so much. Coming up next, Mike will show you ways to help balance your portfolio pyramid. We'll see you right after our break.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
Welcome back to the show. We've been talking about finding the right investment balance, but I hear Mike has an illustration to make it even more clear. What do you have for us, Mike?
Thanks, Amy. Today in Chalk Talk, we are going to talk about making a cake. And what in the world does that have to do with financial planning anyway? I mean, this is the silliest thing, right? Well, hang on. I'm going to share this with you. So here we go. So let's imagine that you want to make a cake, right? You want to make a cake. And so we could almost say that this is your goal. I want a cake. Well, what kind of cake do you want? Well, let's say you want a chocolate cake. Fantastic. We have identified your goal, make a chocolate cake. What is the next step to making a chocolate cake? Well, once you've got your goal, the next thing you need is a strategy to make your cake. Now, in the baking industry, that strategy is called a recipe, right? So you say, oh, I need a recipe to make a chocolate cake. So you find the recipe or the strategy you want, and what's our next step? Our next step is to get the tools to make the chocolate cake. Saying, what tools do you need? Well, whatever the recipe tells you. Let's see, what do we need? We need some flour, we need some sugar, we need some butter, we need some sugar, we need some chocolate, more sugar. You know what I'm talking about. You just need all that stuff. And then you just use the strategy to make your cake, right? Goals, strategy, tools. Those are the levels that you go through when deciding you're going to make a chocolate cake. The goal, I want a chocolate cake. The strategy is the recipe, and the tools, of course, are the ingredients. This is exactly how financial planning works in retirement. What is your goal? You want to live your best life in retirement. Okay, great. What does that look like? Oh, I want to travel. I need this much money coming in each month to live my lifestyle. I want to spend time with kids. I want to spend time with my church, etc., etc. What do you want in retirement? That's your goal. Then, once you identify your goal, then you say, okay, well, what strategies do I need to make that goal a reality? Well, you probably need an income strategy. Maybe you need a tax strategy. Maybe you need an investment strategy. Maybe you need a healthcare strategy, and so on and so on. From there, what tools do you need to make this all work out? Well, whichever tools your strategy says you need. If you need you probably need some stocks in one of these investment strategies. And in an income strategy, maybe you need some fixed income or maybe some annuities. In the tax planning strategy, maybe you need some Roth conversions. I think you get the idea. This is the number one problem that we face in the financial industry. For most financial advisors, when you go visit them, what do they say? If you go see a financial advisor for the first time, what do you think they want? They want your statements. They want to know, what tools are you using? They might say, hey, kind of what do you want in retirement, but what do they really want to do? They want to take your set of tools and just show you how their shiny set of tools are better. Well, that's great, but is that where you should start? No, you need to start with your goals. What do you want? And then after the goals, do we go to tools then? No, we're not there yet. We have to identify what strategies you need to help you accomplish what you want. And then by the time you get to tools, it's nothing more than, gosh, I just need to fill in the blanks of whatever my strategy says I need. The tools are the least important part of the whole conversation. So, when you want to develop a well thought out strategy for your retirement, and you work with any advisor at all, remember this: you must start with the goals. And your next step had darn well better be, what strategies should we be looking at employing to make those goals reality? And it's not until you get those out of the way that it's time to say, okay, which funds or stocks or annuities or bonds or whatever, what tools do you need to use? And I hope that makes some sense. So just like making a cake, financial planning follows the exact same process.
Thanks, Mike. Coming up next, we'll take some questions from the audience. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Retiring Right.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow, so you can enjoy your retirement today.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
Welcome back to our show. It is time now to answer your questions, a favorite segment for Mike and myself. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, here we go. This is a question from Deborah in Austin. I'm 55 and thinking about early retirement, but I'm not sure if I'll have enough savings to last. How can I know if I'm ready to take the plunge? You're talking about diving in, she's taking the plunge.
Yeah.
How does this work?
We've got a theme going on
Yes, we
here.
do.
Well, here's how I would answer that question. Retirement is, when you make the decision to retire, this is a pretty big moment in life. You want to make sure that it's the right decision because, nobody wants to go back to work, right? We want to retire once. Now, well, I take it back. Some people go back to work, but it's because they want to, and it's by choice. So my recommendation, if you're at that stage of life, don't try to do this on your own, right? Do not, I'm begging you, do not try to do it on your own. There are too many competing factors. It's way more complicated than just saving money for retirement. So this is where you want to reach out, find a professional, someone who's a fiduciary who focuses on retirement planning, and just sit down with them and say, hey, help me map this out. How am I looking here? Do I need to work 6 more months? Or can I pull the trigger? What's amazing, Amy, is for a lot of people we talk to, it's kind of funny, a lot of the people we talk to, what we learn is, gosh, not only can you retire now, you might have been able to retire a year ago. You're in better shape than you think you're in.
Okay, great answer. Here is our next question from Brian in San Antonio, writing, I've been saving for retirement, but I feel like I'm behind. Is it worth trying to catch up, or should I just accept that I'll need to work longer? That seems like kind of a bummer of a question.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to just accept the way things are.
No. What do I always say? You can't go back in time and fix anything that you might have done wrong in the past, or maybe you wish you could have done differently. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But we can always say, okay, here's where we are now. The question is, what can we do going forward so that we're in the best place possible, right? So no, you don't just accept it and have to work longer. Although if I was feeling sarcastic, I might say, no, you must work until you're dead. No, we don't do that. Instead, yeah, you can catch up a bit, but there's a couple ways you can catch up. Number one, in the tax code, once you hit north of 50, you can start putting more money in your retirement accounts if you want. That's an option. And always adding more money is a good thing, right? We can always agree on that. But here's the second thing you also should consider. Having as little debt as possible in retirement means that you can live very comfortably on less money. So for a lot of people, especially as they get closer to retirement, instead of adding more money to your investment accounts, it might actually make more sense, Amy, to take that extra money and pay down your house and try to get that thing paid off or as close to paid off as possible by the time you retire. So I don't know what the best answer is for Brian in this case. This is why we visit with people to help them figure it out. But it's not just adding to your portfolio that makes sense.
Yeah. All of these questions need a little bit, another layer coming in, sitting down with your team for sure. Here is an interesting question from Sonia in San Marcos. I've heard a lot about Social Security, but I don't know when I should start taking it. What factors should I be thinking about? Social Security, a lot of decisions to make there.
Oh my goodness. Talk about, let's just open up the complication can of worms here, right?
There you go.
Yeah, so Social Security is one of those things that it is going to be different for everyone. But I will tell you this, if you run, or if you have someone run a Social Security analyzer report for you, where it basically says, gee, Amy, in your situation, how do you get the most out of Social Security? In a vacuum, they almost always tell you wait until you're age 70 if at all possible. However, if you wait till 70, that means you've got to spend from your other resources. And if you include what's called time value money, and that is if you took Social Security earlier, those other resources could have been growing. When you put it all together, oftentimes taking Social Security as early as possible is the right answer. However, I don't take that as a blanket statement. There's a lot of factors that come into play, like how long you're going to live and your other sources of income, and are you going to keep working, all that kind of stuff. So, hey, that's why you need to sit down with someone and really think it through.
Okay. Here is another one from Marcus in Belton. I have several old retirement accounts from different jobs. Should I combine them, or is it better to leave them where they are?
Okay, that's
I like
a no-brainer.
organization, so
Oh,
I
it's a
think
no-brainer.
this is kind of,
Easiest thing in the world is you combine them into one IRA. Why? Why do you do it? Because people think, oh, but I want to be diversified. Diversification does not happen based on I've got 4 or 5 401ks. You can do the same investing all in one IRA. But you combine them for these reasons. Number 1, money's in your control. Number 2, investment options are much broader. Number 3, if you want to do tax planning like Roth conversions, oh my goodness, so much easier to do it out of an IRA than a 401k. Reason number 4, it's simpler, easier to track. And reason number 5, when you get to the age of required minimum distributions, taking them from an IRA, easy peasy. If you've got 4 or 5 different 401ks out there, you got to pull them from each one individually. It's a nightmare. Simplify your life. Just get these things in one place.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mike. Great insight, as always. If you're ready to create a tax-efficient retirement plan designed to protect your wealth, generate income for life, and leave a lasting legacy, now's the time to connect with the team at Centennial Advisors. For Mike Reese and the entire team, I'm Amy Sharp. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week right here on Retiring Right.